Shri Radha Ki Jai, Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Hare Krishna Samdhin, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Samdhin, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Samdhin, Hare Krishna, Shri Guru Gaura, Shri Prabhupada, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yes, it's for chanting the centuries.
Det er 29:30, det er det?
28.
Det er 28, ja, okay.
Begge to, altså aldrig.
28 har ikke
Ja, ja.
kommentarer, så vi gør bare, læser bare færdigt. Vi læser 8, læser bare 28, 29 og 30.
I hvilket kapitel?
I
6.
Okay. So, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 6, and today we will finish the last 3 verses, starting from 28. Yes. So, we can recite this 28 together, and I'll just recite the last one by myself. Shrutam etam maya purvam,
Shrutam etam maya purvam,
Jnanam vijnana samyutam,
Jnanam vijnana samyutam,
Dharmam bhagavatam shuddham,
Dharmam bhagavatam shuddham,
Narada devadashana,
Narada devadashana,
Sutam etam maya purvam,
Shrutam etam maya purvam,
Jnanam vijnana samyutam,
Jnanam vijnana samyutam,
Dharmam bhagavatam shuddham,
Dharmam bhagavatam shuddham,
Narada devadashana,
Narada devadashana.
Yes.
Shrutam etam maya purvam,
Shrutam etam maya purvam,
Jnanam vijnana samyutam,
Jnana vijnana samyutam,
Dharmam bhagavatam shuddham,
Dharmam bhagavatam shuddham,
Narada devadashana,
Narada devadashana. Shrutam etam maya purvam,
Shrutam etam maya purvam,
Jnanam vijnana samyutam,
Jnana vijnana samyutam,
Dhamam bhagavatam shuddham,
Dharmam bhagavatam shuddham,
Narada devadashana.
Narada devadarshana.
Shrutam etam maya purvam,
Shrutam etam maya purvam,
Jnanam vijnana samyutam,
Jnanam vijnana samyutam,
Dharmam bhagavatam shuddham,
Dharmam bhagavatam shuddham,
Narada devadarshana.
Narada devadarshana.
Sutam etam maya purvam,
Shrutam etam maya purvam,
Jnanam vijnana samyutam,
Jnanam vijnana samyutam,
Dharmam bhagavatam shuddham,
Dharmam bhagavatam shuddham,
Narada devadarsana,
Narada devadarshana.
Shrutam,
Shrutam,
heard,
heard,
etat,
etat,
this, maya, by me,
by me,
purvam, formerly,
formally,
jnanam, confidential knowledge,
confidential knowledge,
vijnana samyutam,
Jnana samyutam,
combined with its practical application. application.
Combined with its practical application.
Dharmam,
Dharmam,
transcendental religion.
transcendental religion.
Bhagavatam,
Bhagavatam,
in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Shuddham,
Shuddham,
having nothing to do with material activities.
having nothing to do with material activities.
Narada,
Narada,
from the great sage Narada.
from the great sage Narada.
Deva,
Deva,
the Supreme Lord.
the Supreme Lord.
Darshana,
Darshana,
who always sees.
who always sees.
Translation by Steinbeck, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prahlad Maharaj continued, I received this knowledge from the great saint Narada Muni, who is always engaged in devotional service. This knowledge, which is called Bhagavad Dharma, is fully scientific. It is based on logic and philosophy and is free from all material contamination. So I'll read just verses 29 and 30 by myself. Shri Taitya Putra Uchu Arahatam Vayam Chapi Nate Yam Vidma He Gurum Etapyam Guru Putravyam Paranam Api Ishvaro Balasanta Pura Satya Mahatsango Durantaya Chindina Samsayam Samya Sachet Vishtam Bakaranam. The sons of the demons replied, Dear Prahlad, neither you nor we know any teacher or spiritual master other than Shanda and Amarka, the sons of Sukracharya. After all, we are children and they are our controllers. For you especially, who always remain within the palace, it is very difficult to associate with a great personality. Dear friend, most gentle one, would you kindly explain how it was possible for you to hear Narada? Kindly dispel our doubts in this regard. Om Jnanati Mirandasya Karandana Salakaya Chakshuram Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So it is interesting that Prahlad Maharaj, he describes devotional service as fully scientific. I received this knowledge from the great saint Narada Muni, who is always engaged in devotional service. This knowledge, which is called Bhagavad Dharma, is fully scientific. It is based on logic and philosophy and is free from all material contamination. So as we know that Srila Prabhupada, he described devotional service quite often as a science. Like it's a transcendental science. It's a bhakti science also. Like that. So, and that's actually quite appealing because many of us in the Western world, we're very scientifically minded. We like it when we can measure something, we can observe, analyze, and then understand, well, things, they work in this way. And then we can be sure that they will work like this tomorrow also. So that gives some sense of security, that you can be, that you can trust this knowledge. It's scientific. That means that it is true today. That means that it will be true tomorrow. So that sense of security is something that we very much appreciate in the West. Whereas maybe other parts of the world, or you may say in other cultures, there may not be so much emphasis on the science part, or in different groups of people. And this also is interesting, because also you'll find that Bhakti Yoga is described as an art. So there's sometimes devotional service is described as an art, and sometimes described as a science. So I was thinking the other day about the difference between art and science. And there can be some slight difference in it, in the sense that an artist may go one thing, an artist may go more on the intuition. And it can also, an artist can be very scientific also, learn the very scientific music, but some artists, they don't study anything, really. They don't study notes or anything like that. They're just born with talent, and they just do it, based on their inner inspiration. So that we also see some devotees, they are not very much into studying philosophy. They're not into scrutinizing and studying all shlokas and then making it really, really carefully, understanding it very much with logic and philosophy. They just do it naturally, and they just feel it. They just have the intuition, and somehow they're inspired and they do it right. They have some maybe from previous lives. And they're very good at it. They're good, very nice Mridanga players, I know, which never learned a Teriketa, they never really went to that whole thing, but they play very nice Mridanga. So that's interesting, that sometimes we may find that devotional service describes as art, and sometimes describes as science, and it will appeal to different devotees, based on their own nature. Some they really get inspired by the scientific. They want to be scientific, and they want to study the Shastras themselves, they want to study Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and they want to connect it with practical application. And this is actually not given in the translation, but if we go to the word-by-word meaning, Srila Prabhupada gives the word-by-word meaning explanation to the Vijnana Samyutam, combined with its practical application. So this is interesting when it comes to science, because you want to have some theory, and then you want to see how the theory works in practical application. Because when you can see that your theory, it actually works in practice, like if you put the theory into practice, then you can see there's some practical result, which is according to what the theory says would be happening if you do execute the theoretical steps, then you will get the result. So some persons, they get very inspired by this. I will learn the theory, and I will do the practical experiment, and then I will get the result, which was described in the theory that I will get. And then they feel convinced, then they're convinced. Then they know that it works. And actually this is a very important part when it comes to the path of devotional service, because one has to become convinced at some point of time in one's practice of devotional service. Otherwise, what happens is, if we just take it on inspiration, like say, if we don't become scientific, but we are naturally inspired people, really open, curious, we be attracted to new things, So devotional service is very attractive, You'll find smiling people, nice, shining, bright, people in the Hare Krishna movement. You'll find nice prasadam, very tasty dishes you find nice music, nice kirtan, and this may all appeal to our senses actually. It's all appealing to senses. So if we become inspired by that and join the society of devotees, and then we enter and take up responsibilities, we join, so to say, we become members. And then it's not, we get some, you can say, duties that we should do. Some austerity comes in the picture. If we want to be a member, we're being told you have to purify yourself. You have to do certain things and not do other things, do's and do nots. And you have to regulate your life according to these do's and do nots. So, what happens is sometimes that we may start to get a sour taste because we don't know why we're doing all these do's and do nots. We were very attractive in the beginning. We liked the Harinam, we liked the Kirtan, we liked the Prasadam, and we liked to see the nice shiny people like that. But we find difficulty actually surrendering ourselves to the negative principles, doing the sadhana like that. And that's often because we have not been convinced on our intelligence, we can say, has not been convinced that this is very good for us. that by doing this sadhana we will get the result that we want. And it's worth doing this purification in order to get that higher goal, which we may not know now, we don't have tangible experience now. So that's why Prabhupada said, would question devotees, they would say, are you convinced? In fact, if you were convinced then we could conquer the world in 18 days, something like this he used to say. So powerful this, when you're convinced, then you can really be determined, then you can really put your effort, really 100% when you know what you're doing. But if you don't really know what you're doing and why you're doing it, then it's very difficult to put all your determination there, because the mind will say, well, what will you actually get out of this? What will come out of this? Are you sure this is actually intelligent, this is good? And like this, if you're not really convinced on the intellectual, on the platform of the intelligence, if you're not convinced there, then the mind, it can come and it can give all kinds of different proposals why you should be doing something else. But if you're fully convinced that this is really the best thing I can do, and actually it is the most enjoyable thing also, it is actually really Susukham Kartum Bhavayam, then what happens if we have arrived at that platform, then we can put our heart into it. But unless that platform, it's like materializes, we come to that platform, then it will be very difficult to tolerate all austerities, very difficult to accept things which may not be so pleasing to our senses, to accept chastisement from superiors, to get up every day for Mangalarti, and so many other things which are there, chant 16 rounds like every day. But if we really try to become convinced, and not only just hear from somebody else that said you should become convinced, but we do the work. We take shelter of devotees who are convinced and who can give you help, to tell you how to become convinced. You can say, well, Prabhu, I'm not convinced. I'm not able to put my heart 100% into this path of bhakti yoga, this devotional service. Somehow or other, it's not working for me. So then a person who actually has gone through all the difficulties and has applied his thinking to the process, how it works, and has really understood it works like this. It really works like this. Then he can maybe say, well, you have to, in what direction you have to apply your thought, what you have to consider in order to be convinced. And there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita that says that, which speaks about the introspective sage. And the verse is 269. What is night for common people is the time of awakening for the introspective sage. And what is the time of awakening for the common people is night for the self-control or something like that. Slight, adaptation. But the interesting thing is the word introspective sage. I like that a lot, because that introspection means that you see within, that you analyze things from within, and that is a quality which we may have to really try to cultivate in order to become convinced. We have to be introspective. That means we have to see, we have to measure that we're doing this, what are we getting out of it, what's happening. If you're doing the Sankirtan, let's say you take the austerity, which is sometimes you may be asked that you should do some preaching. We join the Hare Krishna movement, it's a preaching movement. Lord Chaitanya's movement is a preaching movement. You should preach. That means either you should go out with books, or you should go out and chant Hare Krishna for the benefit of all the people in general. So when we do this, when we hear from authority, yes, we should go out and preach, and we go out and preach, so something will happen there on the street. You will have some experience. Then introspective means that you look inside and see, okay, what happened there? I went out, I tried to listen to some books, I had this experience. Why am I having this experience? Why am I feeling it like this? So then you may consider, I had a bad day, Nobody took a look, and people were abusive, and I got angry like that, and I really feel bad about it. Oh, it was a horrible experience. So then the introspective say, why was it a horrible experience? And then introspective will say, well, was there something wrong in my application? Like, there's either two possibilities. Either the people, they were, not treating you as they were supposed to treat you. They really didn't reciprocate with your kind and loving spirit. Or else there was some fault on your part. Like we had some fruitive mentality, that somehow the people they could detect and they responded to that fruitive mentality. Rather than the noble goal, which actually is there and going out with and giving people this knowledge. So, and then you will analyze, you'll see what was the case here. Was it my fault or was it their fault? And actually, as a part of the philosophy, is that you never get any much out of it by putting the blame on others, because that's what actually one anartha, that it's always somebody else's fault. If something goes wrong, if something is not pleasing to our senses, immediately the finger goes up, it's your fault. Or today, it's your fault. Like that. And the tendency there to blame others, for everything displeasing, that's actually, we can see, that is something that's actually an anartha, and something we suffer greatly. If we have this attitude, we suffer greatly in this life. So, one of the things in the Shastra is that there's not really others who's the cause of our difficulty, as we have in the Bhagavatam, we'll come later, the Avaduta Brahmana, isn't it? The Avaduta Brahmana, he was troubled by so many living entities when he tried to become a devotee. He tried to become a transcendentalist and become a sannyasi, like that. And while he was trying to become a sannyasi, because in his previous life he was like a greedy brahmana, he was a very bad character, like that. So when he tried to become good, he tried to become a sannyasi and be renounced and become a beggar, then all the people that he knew before said, well, you're just a greedy brahmana, we know you're total materialist, why are you doing this? And they would do so many things. They would ridicule him and even physically attack him, beat him, like that. And but his realization was, they are not the source of my trouble. My only source of trouble is my uncontrolled mind and uncontrolled senses. This is what gives me trouble. Because he knew, if I somehow can control my mind like that, and apply my senses properly in devotional service, then ultimately these things, they will disappear. This is just temporary. This is reactions to my karma. If I simply tolerate these reactions to my karma and just continue applying myself to what I'm doing, then ultimately it will disappear. So like that understanding is very important actually for our being steady, for our sticking to the process, is that we have to understand that we are at fault. We are here in the material world. We did something bad to be here in this particular body, in this particular country of Denmark. It is not very auspicious to have taken birth in Denmark in this Kali Yuga. It doesn't show us a big credit on our karmic track record. Sorry to offend anyone out there. All those who have taken birth in Denmark, it is not karmically auspicious to have taken birth in Denmark with so many sinful, a country, a desh, where so many sinful activities are carried on, and where we are actually educated in sinful activity from our very birth, basically. So we should know, based on that fact, that we have bad karma. We have done some inauspicious things, and this is with us in our baggage. So, when we accept that fact, and then understand that this will cost something, this bad karma, there's some price for that. Bad karma, we know that is adhyatmika klesha, it is adhibhautika klesha, and adhyadaika klesha. If you do sinful activity, you will get misery from your own mind and your own body, you will get misery from other living entities, and you will get misery from the nature. So do we have these things in Denmark on a daily basis? Quite so. Now you look at the weather. It's overcast, it is raining. Not supposed to be like this in the daytime, if in a place where actually people are living according to Dharma. So it's adhyadaika klesha just right here outside the door, like that. And living entities, they're not always nice to each other, is it? On the street, you'll find that So adi bhautiga klesa is there. And adi atmiya klesa, our body sometimes doesn't work, as we have our Thai, somebody he's struggling to maintain his body in a fit condition to go out and do his service. And we can understand sometimes our mind is giving trouble, to go out and do the whatever preaching we order to do. So this is all because of our bad karma. It can all be accepted. This is because of inauspicious previous activities. But we should know, if we simply stick to it and do it, or apply ourselves, practical application, we do our preaching activity, even though these things are there, just with the fact of knowledge that they will go away. The kleshas, they will go away if we continue, and there's a purification process going on. And as soon as we can come to the point that it's not the fault of the others, whatever happens is my fault, I deserved it. So better than to protest, then better to tolerate, and then just continue. Just observe it from outside, what's happening, how people are dealing with you, how you are dealing with others, and how you're getting a reaction in return. Just look at it from a step back and just observe it as a scientist. Because we can do that, because we're not the body,